Chapter 3. A Mother-Son Chat. The next morning, Harry woke up in a bed. At first he thought he was at the Dursleys. Then he realized that the bedroom was bigger. Then it hit him. He was back at Godric Hollow, the place where his parents lived and would later die. He went downstairs to find it empty. His mother must not be up yet, and James probably wasn't back yet. So, being the good son he was, he decided to make breakfast. And if he could pull it off, breakfast in bed for the two redheads. But that was only providing they stayed asleep. But considering it was 6 o'clock, he was certain that was a safe bet. About an hour later, James still wasn't home yet and breakfast was ready. Grabbing the trays and balancing them in each hand, he went to his girlfriend's room first and knocked with his foot. "Go away, Mione." Ginny groaned. "Room service." Harry called. A few seconds later, as Ginny remembered where she was, "Come on in." Harry sat his mother's breakfast on a table in the hallway and opened the door. "Can't stay long," he told his girlfriend. "I have Mum's out in the hall, buttering up your mum." Ginny teased. "I figured it'll be a nice thank you for taking us in while Dumbledore gets this sorted out. How on earth are we going to explain ourselves?" Ginny asked. "I mean, we're keeping the relationship secret and Dumbledore's keeping time turners in cupboards. You know we're going to be asked what we were doing in a broom closet. Knowing Hermione, she's already figured it out," Harry said. "At least, about us. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a mother to pamper. When Dad gets back and Mum explains everything, then you and me will have some fun. Marauder fun, or fun the way Ron and Hermione see it, though they think we don't know. What do you think?" he asked with a seductive wink. He then grabbed his mother's breakfast, which had a small heating charm on it. He then knocked on the master bedroom door. "Come in." His mother's voice came. Harry opened the door. "Mum?" Harry asked. "Harry?" she asked, sitting up with a Merlin "it wasn't a dream" look. "I brought you breakfast," Harry said. "Oh sweetheart. You didn't have to," Lily said sweetly as Harry walked it over to her. "I wanted to. As a thank you for taking my girlfriend and myself in. It's no trouble," Lily said, caressing Harry's cheek. "But thank you for the breakfast. Your father only does it on Valentine's Day and my birthday. He might do it on our anniversary. Anyways, as it turned out, Remus cooked and your father brought up the food." Lily started eating, then got a shocked look on her face. "This is delicious," Lily said. "You made this?" Harry blushed and nodded. "Well, at least you're not hopeless in the kitchen like your father. I leave for 5 minutes and the entire place is filled with burnt popcorn." Was Sirius in the room? "Yes. That explains it," Harry said, wondering if he could change the subject. He didn't have the heart to tell her that his cooking was self-taught through Petunia. "Mum?" Harry asked. "I was wondering, while I'm in 1980, if you and Dad could tell me a few stories from your pasts." "Of course," Lily said. "But you've probably heard them before." "Still," Harry said. "Please." "Of course," Lily said. "What time does Dad usually come back after the full moon?" "Depends," Lily said. "If it's a weekday the next morning, he goes straight to work and be back around 5. If it's a weekend like today, we can expect him around 9. Harry looked at the clock. 7:14. "Don't worry. James LL understand," Lily said. "In fact, this is the type of thing he would have done. Though, knowing him, he'd probably go into the future to check it out. I guess I'd better start calling him Dad, so you don't get confused. Whatever you want," Harry said. "So, tell me about yourself," Lily said. "I know I'll probably learn it all later anyways, but still, well. As you know, I'm dating Ginny. Her brother Ron is one of my best friends. My other best friend is Muggleborn. In fact, you remind me of her. The way you described the time turner last night, that was Hermione. There's a bet going around on when Ron and Hermione will admit they're dating, but I'm not in on it as much as I would like to be. But considering we're talking about my two best mates and one's the brother of my girlfriend, I understand," Lily said. "And her other brothers?" "I believe there are 5 others. Bill's cool," Harry said. "He's a curse breaker. Charlie's a dragon trainer. Percy's a puppet for the Ministry. He's not talking to his family right now because of a dispute between Dumbledore and the Ministry. Don't ask. But Percy thinks that Fudge is flawless. And then there's Fred and George. They're in their 7th year and a lot of fun. They worship the Marauders. In fact, I wonder if they know that they know the Marauders. That'll be interesting." Especially with Moony. Why Moony? Don't tell him, Harry whispered. But in 1993, he'll be the new Dada teacher. And so far, the best I've ever had. Well, I'm glad Remus is still in your life. Lily said. I was starting to get worried with the werewolves following Greyback, who works for Voldemort. Well, Professor Lou. I mean, Moony has friends who like him even with the condition. I mean, how many werewolves have friends who would go as far as becoming illegal animagi for them? Too true. Lily sighed. Are you an animagus? Harry then got a shocked look. No. He said as if amazed with himself. I never even considered. It would be a good defense against Voldemort. Perhaps I can talk Dad into teaching me while I'm here. She gave him a pointed look. Kidding, Harry said. Sheesh. And I thought you had a sense of humor. I married your father, didn't I? She teased. True. Harry said. There was a small pause as Lily ate for two. Mum? Harry asked. Why do Dad and Snape hate each other? You've met Severus. Lily asked, amazed. I can't avoid him. Harry admitted. He's my potions professor. Severus was always good in potions. She mused. But I think it has to do with jealousy. How so? Well, your father was popular, excellent in Quidditch, not too bad on the eyes, and excelled at anything when it came to wand waving with the exception of the animagus thing, but only his closest friends know about that. Severus wasn't any of those things, but he did excel in potions, which was your father's worst subject and in theory in all the subjects. Also, Severus was my best friend and your father had the biggest crush on me. I think that helped lead to the tension. What happened between you and Professor Snape? I tried to stand up for him when your father's animagus personality was coming out. Of course, at the time, I thought your dad was just being a prat. But then, Severus, my best friend, he called me the M word. Lily nodded. Normally, I have no problem with it. She explained. But considering that Severus called me it, I began to question our friendship. I knew he called me that because of his Slytherin friends. I didn't like that crowd. He chose them over me. In fact, don't tell your father, but I started dating him just to spite Severus. But your father took that opportunity to show what he called his true self. I ended up falling in love and, she looked down at her bulging stomach. That makes a bit more sense. Harry said. Just, Snape hates me and openly shows it. Next time he does it, tell me and I'll have a word with him. Lily said. Harry nodded while biting his lip. He couldn't tell her that she can't because she's dead when Snape starts treating him badly.